Hello and welcome to the Light Renegades. My name is Anna Maria, and I'm here with a new series for you all. Similar to the last series that some of you may recognize me from, called Getting Started, this series will be offering weekly channeled messages by the Pleiadian High Council. These messages are going to touch upon a variety of topics, but they're going to have a little bit more meat to them than I think was presented in the Getting Started series. If you are new on this path to conscious growth, if you're new to this world, I might recommend getting started um, as a entry point. There are a lot of tips and tricks and yeah, just activities and exercises to help you figure out a little bit, I guess, figure out yourself a little bit better. Um, And similarly, if you've been here for a while and you're ready for a new level of understanding and you're ready to dig in a little bit deeper, I might also recommend that series with that in mind. You're not going there for the latest information per se, but you're going there to really tune into self, your own energy, and yeah, yeah, your own energy, I think. Better helping you better understand yourself. Um, Similarly, if you go to the Light Renegades list of playlists, there's a ton of content out by my star sister, my Pleiadian sister, Cassidy Star, as you know her. And we've also both put out meditations under the meditations playlist. So take a look, see what you're called to, and yeah, have fun with it. And the other thing that Star and I are both doing in our personal spaces is we have platforms. Star has a YouTube channel where she does the most incredible pick a card tarot readings. There's her Instagram page where she's putting out regular videos with tips and tricks to, yeah, just ton of content to kind of help inform and support people on their path. Similarly, I put out daily altar messages. These are channeled messages by our teams and family of light. Um, yeah, just with the day's, the message of the day. And sometimes these are questions, activities, exercises you can sit with, and sometimes they're just messages based on yeah, the energy of the day. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. Please forgive me. Um, I am currently, just a little side note, on an extended layover in Las Vegas. That's right. Not a place that I thought I would find myself, but Spirit was pushing hard for this. So I was doing energy work yesterday in the forests. Today, a lot of grid work and healing at a greater level in the city center. And tonight, yeah, I'll be hitting up a few spots. I haven't been to the strip yet, but on the strip. So that'll be interesting. And maybe I'll, in a separate segment or maybe as an energy update, yeah, I'll go into a little bit more of what's going to be happening for any of you who are interested. Um, but yeah, I think I'll leave it there. Today's message from the Pleading High Council is quite long. Um, it's quite long. So if for those of you who are inclined, you may want to put it at 2 times the speed. I find it's been very interesting how this came into my awareness, but there's something with starseed brains, and some of them work on hyperdrive. So I know a lot of people that are diagnosed with ADHD. It's what's actually happening is there's a brain that is working so quickly that when they're dealing with others, the information comes out so slowly that it's hard for them to grab onto. And one of the suggested ways forward is to listen to things at faster speeds and their brains can catch it. That's not for everyone. I have ADD, or I have been diagnosed previously with ADD, and I tend to take things in a little bit more slowly. But for those of you who prefer a fast pace, yeah, please feel free. I may sound a little funnier, but there you go. That's just a suggestion. So, okay, I'm gonna pull up the message and we'll get into it. A lot of energy here today. Vegas has just been, yeah, so dense, so uncomfortable. So I'll just take a second to ground. Sorry. Greetings once again to our dearest and most beloved souls in this new series to help ground you in even deeper into your own growth work, into who you are at your very core. To each of you sitting with us, we greet you as friends, as family, as our most celebrated pioneers. While we may, from your perspective, be sitting in the roles of teachers, guides, galactic teams, we are in fact the same as you, equals in all respects. We have mentioned this on the Light Renegades channel before, but for those joining us perhaps for the first time, each of you here is connected to us and other galactic and angelic high councils, to the Light Renegades, and to each other, your brothers, sisters, friends, colleagues, and team members. Even if you are not Pleiadian in your origin or galactic ancestry, we are all working shoulder to shoulder, so to speak. All working in service for the same purpose, towards the same goal, and in some cases working very closely together in this and other spaces. It is of course the same with those you find yourselves interacting with elsewhere in your personal and online communities. We are all part of an unimaginably vast network connected across this planet and to countless other spaces and times and dimensions across the universe. As you are a bit closer to the ground, it may be harder to fathom and truly appreciate the energetic threads that connect us all to each other. It has, in fact, all been so beautifully orchestrated through plans contracted and agreed upon before you incarnated. The events you call your synchronicities have been planned down to the very smallest and most minute details. Everything has been planned so that when the time is right, the people, images, thoughts, experiences, happenstances you need to move forward are ushered into your fields. This could present like a flash of a smell or color, picture or trigger meant to trigger a thought, meant to subsequently trigger an action, meant to take you somewhere very specific, physically or metaphorically speaking. All time to help you progress in perfect divine timing. And when we say progress here, we mean moving ahead through the milestones you placed, even if the progress doesn't look like what you may think it should. From your point of view, it is not so easily evident that progress, growth, learning are not linear. It may not make sense, but this is where we ask you to tune into the energy of this message and trust if it feels in alignment. The fact is, some of you have chosen to dwell in certain spaces longer than others. Some of you chose to wake up earlier, and others later in life. To have your gifts come in later in life, some of you, sorry, to have your gifts come in later in life. Some of you look to family and friends, knowing they are light workers, and hit your heads against the wall because they are not where you are. In fact, so much around you, this idea of progress, growth, ascension has been distorted in the 3D. It doesn't all look like what you expect it to. And we see that leading to frustration, judgment, and in many cases, punishing thought and behavioral patterns. Wishing to do better, move faster, step outside of the pain, to hasten ascension, and get to the good bits. And here is where we say not all paths were created the same. How could they be? So for those of you who feel like they aren't doing as well as others, like others aren't doing as well as them, aren't where they'd like them to be, aren't more of this or less of that, please pause. Listen to us and hear us when we say you couldn't be. None of it has to do with any personal shortcomings. That's just not the case. As a side note, this isn't to say many of you might not benefit from tightening up your spiritual practices, sitting with self and in meditation more, engaging more with energy and your own healing and inner growth work. but that's because these are integral parts of your awakening and ascension experience. It is less about getting in your hours as a means to progress and more about giving your bodies and minds the gift of connection. For that's what it is. This path you're on is a series of lessons, trials and experiences and lessons, each one holding their own keys and codes. Collected and integrated, each unlock specific aspects within you to support you in the next group of experiences that will have opened up for you, almost like video games. Codes can, in fact, be transmitted through a variety of different ways, including connecting in with music, art, energy flow and transmissions, information, interactions with the sun, moon, stars, members of the plant and animal kingdoms, as well as beings in other higher dimensional realms, but also between strangers catching each other's eye as they cross each other on the street, smiles shared from across a counter, fleeting interactions with a stranger at a train station, over shared interactions, shared experiences with strangers, and family alike. The next time you're passing someone, arm outstretched with money, know that there is no chance encounter that put them on your path, and take a moment to send them light. Look at them in the eye and greet them as a friend. In some cases, where the most profound exchanges happen is in relationships where evolutions have been contracted to occur. Family relationships, like those between a child and a parent, siblings, partners, as well as colleagues and friends. The bigger the role someone has in your life, however hard and strained it may be, the bigger the opportunities for growth available to you both. Not all parties are prepared to step forward, and perhaps you may feel guided to step back. But don't for a moment think that these are NPCs or sheep, as some in your circles have taken to calling them. Friends or seemingly foe, awake or asleep, soul tribe or stranger, everyone you interact with is an equal, playing out their own experience. And you hold codes for them, and they for you, regardless of what the relationship looks like from your perspective. Why do we get into all of this? It answers the question that sometimes is hard to see from your perspective. The answer to why so many of you are called to someone, to somewhere, or something. Why chance encounters find you, either seemingly good or bad events. And we know that for many this is not new information, but we ask you to stay with us, for there are codes and activations and remembrance in these words as well. You have each felt the difference between an experience that called to you versus one that came to you. All of you has free will, you see, and can choose to do and can choose what to do with these opportunities you're presented with. But sometimes when connections are integral part of your experience on Earth, you may find that it is harder to miss them and that they, at times, will find you. There are in fact layers of free will. Free will at the human level and free will at the soul level. And with the exception of very specific types of severe exploitation of free will by some of the groups that are not playing by the same universal laws as the rest of us, which is a discussion for another time, you each have choices and the ability to consent or not to lessons and experiences. So for an example that most of you can relate to, you're born into a very specific family because at a soul level you chose these types of fundamental experiences those connections would offer. Your human version did not have a choice in the matter, but the soul chose a set of relationship dynamics that would lay the groundwork for this life. Relationships, especially at a younger and more vulnerable stage in your life, imparted on you certain types of programming and trauma your human self had no control over. These were, unfortunately or fortunately, integral parts of your human experience, agreed on by the soul, but not the human personality. At a human level, however, more so as you get older and start to make your own decisions, you begin to choose how much you wish to engage with the people in your lives, the lessons and opportunities for growth available to you in these or similar relationships. The universe gives you endless opportunities to make and make-ups. Didn't learn the lesson with one person, You will find it in a similar situation with another, no doubt, until the cycle is broken through pattern recognition and choice to move and grow past the specific lesson. And of course, at the human level, you have the free will to walk away, to endure, to suffer, to change what you to change, to accept, to grow, or to not. This example extends to all areas of your life. All the souls you cross paths with, all the souls with codes of activation. You can choose to stop or keep walking, to engage or not. The experiences you're called to, and the ones you find knocking at your door. In fact, for some of you who have been asking for growth, when you are faced with these experiences that will help you move to the marker, so to speak, you have the free will and often will say, oh no, no thank you, not today. It's of course fine. Opportunities will come up again, but let this message be a gentle request to trust yourself more, to trust your strength and courage to face the uncomfortable, to trust the process and trust the light in you, the light and the dark. For you each have both intertwined within you. They are intertwined and work together. As you've heard before, you cannot have one without the other, nor would you want to. Sorry. And yet we see you rejecting certain lessons and opportunities, at times willfully, afraid of potential outcomes not being exactly what you think they should look like. So comfortable in the pain that you can't fathom what you would do outside of it. And sometimes you see an opportunity and say, but that's not what I've been asking for. And we say with so much love, it is, as part of a very necessary milestone to get to the next bit. The lightworkers incarnated on this planet have chosen some truly important lives, and in many cases, difficult experiences to yield profound lessons for yourselves and the collective. Everything you experience and do and learn gets transmitted as codes, outwards as energy amidst the collective consciousness, and struggles of others are transmitted as to sorry. And the struggles of others are transmitted to you as codes. Much of it as also part of the ancestral clearing you've come here to do in your respective spaces, supporting past and future generations. We would so enjoy being able to show you how much of an impact you've had on the collective just by living out the lives that you've lived to date, and how much more of an impact you are having with every passing day of walking this path of conscious self-growth. And so, even if your growth isn't looking like what you'd like it to, know it's all taking place behind the scenes. And one day you'll wake up and just see it all, understand it all, be it all. And so we say again, trust yourselves. Trust the higher dimensional version of you that set up the plan, and trust the version of you here to handle the tough stuff. You don't give yourselves near enough credit, thinking at times so poorly about yourselves and your abilities, that others must be doing a better job, that others on this path must be handling things better, or that you should be handling things better. The irony here is that you all think these things about each other. You think they're handling life better, they think you are. But it's a harder way to live, believing in others more than yourself. Just as it is sitting in victimhood over self-empowerment, just as it is sitting in anger over forgiveness, so too with this. It is harder to sit in resistance than surrender. Trust and surrender do introduce a certain ease to the process. This loved one was hoping for a more cheerful message as an introduction to the new series, but we believe this is what needed to come forward for you now, to set the stage for this next new chapter and this current energy you find yourselves in. It is a message that reminds you you can choose how to navigate your experience. Just when you think yourselves helpless, as if life is happening to you, remember you can choose to accept the lesson with open arms, learn, grow from it, so you can move forward into new and exciting states of being and states of accepting. Or you can choose to pass on the lesson, in which case it'll find you in a different way down the line, when you are more prepared. And with that, we leave you here. We hope you will each sit with this and see if you can identify certain opportunities for growth that have found you, that were accepted and worked through, or the ones that dragged you through the mud, or the ones where you ended up giving up in the end, only to have to face again and again, only to have to face them again and again in some cases. The more you start understanding and identifying experiences from your past, the easier it'll be to realize which ones find you again in the future. At times, we so wish we could pull your current consciousness back up and give you a sneak peek as to what's really going on. But as agreed upon, information is made available to each of you when the time is right, as divinely planned. We love you and leave you here. Until next time. All right, so that's it. That's our first message. I'm slowly losing my voice, it seems. I don't know what's going on. Something with the throat chakra. So, yeah, I think I'll also leave it here for today. That was a pretty long one. You may need to revisit it. One of the things that I've been, guided to share is that for messages like this, if you can pause what you're doing and just kind of put up a bubble of energy around yourselves and settle into the message, I think that that's probably one way of receiving the codes and understanding the information a little bit better. That said, we all have busy lives, so as long as you're not driving, feel free to put this on while you're doing other things. But I think for some of the heavier topics, sometimes it takes a little bit more of a full attention. But also you do you. However you feel called to listen to the messages, you're getting from it what you need. So I'll leave you here. I hope you're all having a wonderful day wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and I'm sending you so much love until the next video. Bye-bye for now.